Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, then please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Wow is probably the only word I can come up with to summarize the end of that Cleveland Browns Packers game. Cleveland Browns somehow win this game 13-10. I still don't know how. That's what we're going to try and figure out, I guess, during this conversation. But Nathan has been ever so kind to come on and talk about this game. To be honest, if it was the other way round, nope. I will admit I would not be showing my face. So, all respect to you, Nathan, for coming on. I suppose first things first. What are your initial thoughts after that? What I would just call a robbery from the Cleveland Browns.
I don't know where to start. I've got quite a bit of grief on the WhatsApp groups, deservedly so. Just, I thought, even when it got to 10-10, I thought, okay, we've got the ball. Love's good enough. We can get down the field. You know, we had the Kraft drives us downfield. We're in field goal range. I'm like, okay, play the clock, get a field goal. It's not a good win, but it's a win. And we went full Packers. We went full Packers. The special teams just hurting us is normal. I feel like I should have been prepared for that. And yeah, it's a painful loss. It's a painful loss, but I think I said to you straight after the game that if anyone deserved to win, the Browns defense deserved to win because they just carried that team through that game. They were unbelievable, and we stunk the place out. So we deserve nothing. We should have won, but we didn't. And credit the Browns because that defense is very good, and they deserve a win from at least one from 3 games.
Yeah. No, you're spot on.
But from my point of view, it's a painful loss. It's a good humbling. I think it's probably one we needed. We were so dominant through 2 weeks, but today, offensively, just so poor against admittedly a good team. But it's this loss that stings. I think that's probably one of the worst quarters I've seen from the Packers in a long time. Probably the worst under Matt LaFleur. So a lot of learning for us, but credit the Browns. They did what they had to do, and they got the win.
Not even just the fourth. I mean, the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, I think, is all the Browns turned up for. I mean, it's quite insane. The Browns were so bad throughout this game on offense. We spoke about it in the preview. The only chance that the Browns were going to have in this game was if that defense could keep them in it. And somehow, maybe Flacco could find a deep ball or whatever, they could find a way to score. That wasn't the case all game. The defense were able to keep them in it, but the offense just were unable to do anything. Just to go through the Browns' opening plays of this game, drives, shall I say. Punt, 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 interception, punt, 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 and then we get to that last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter where they score a field goal, touchdown, and a field goal, obviously, at the end to win it. Just a crazy sequence at the end. Once the Packers went up 2 scores in this, once you scored the touchdown, it felt like for me it was over. I tweeted during the game, this Browns offense are not going to be able to come down from 2 scores. They would need help somewhere else. There was the defensive touchdowns going on all over the NFL during this point in the fourth quarter. The Vikings had 2 just in the first half alone. There was loads going on, and I was just sat there thinking, well, if the Browns can maybe get 1, then maybe just maybe they could have a chance in this game. Instead they were able to drive a little bit at the help of a couple of penalties, get into field goal range, kick the field goal, and then Jordan Love throws. I haven't gone back and watched it, but from what I saw on the broadcast, did not look like a great throw.
No, I said to you in our preview that he has these moments every game. He'll have 1 or 2. I thought he'd got it out of the way with the play in the first. I think it was the first half where he was he should have thrown the ball away and just took a sack. And I don't know what he was doing. I don't know why he didn't throw the ball away. So I thought, okay, maybe that's Love's play. He has 1 every game, but I don't know what he saw. I don't know what he thought he was doing. That was a bad throw from Love. Like a lot of this, I don't put too much of the lot on him, but that if he doesn't throw that, we probably win the game.
Yeah.
And I was like you, when we went 10-0, I think we got a couple of stops. I'm like, okay, just see the game out. I mean, the opportunities to see the game out for us were there multiple times, but
Yeah.
that was, as soon as he threw the interception, I was like, we're going to lose this game. You know, it was a bad. it, I'm still a bit lost for words. Like
Uh,
I'm mainly going at the O line. I think the O line was just
yeah.
we lost 2 players during the game, which is hard
Yeah.
against such a good defense. But Love can't be throwing picks like that. He hadn't thrown a pick in, I think it was like 7 or 8 regular season games.
Yeah. It was quite a long streak.
But that was a bad one, and turns the tide of the game. And here we are. we've lost it. So yeah.
I mean,
So
I was just going to say, it was the Browns punting down 10-0 with what? I mean, 6 or something minutes left, just barely 7 minutes left. And at that point, we put the ball at your 2 yard line.
yeah,
I mean, I didn't want to punt there anyway. I thought that was a questionable decision from Kevin Stefanski to punt. He did decide to punt. Obviously, we put the ball at your 2 yard line. That's when I'm thinking, right, just get a safety, to get something, just force some chaos here inside, the Packers end zone. You're able to get that 34, I think it was 34 yard gain to Golden. At that point, I'm thinking, right, this is game over.
well, I'm thinking that should have been a touchdown. If Love throws that ball better, Love's Golden's gone. Sorry, that
Yeah,
was, I spoke to you about that in a preview. Those two haven't been quite on the same level, but if Love throws that ball better, Golden's gone and the game is done. So it's a good throw. We got a good gain, but ultimately then we messed up. We messed it up. So yeah, that probably should have been game, but it felt like one of those games for us where like everything was going wrong. Everything was going wrong. Um, but I think it was 3:42 left in the fourth until we gave up any points. So
yeah,
we gave up 13 points with 3:42 left,
yeah,
which is insane.
yeah.
And again, credit the Browns. Credit
I
the
mean,
Browns. They did their job.
that's something that usually happens to the Browns. I mean, any Browns fan will remember the 14 points we gave up to the Jets a couple of years ago. That was even less time. That was about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. We gave up those 14 points. As I said at the start, truly was a robbery this game. 13 points in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Just the way the momentum completely shifted. As you said, Packers had multiple chances to win this game. I mean, the Browns with the punt, while still down 10-0, if you were able to just get a few more first downs, probably game over. The Browns were able to get the ball, actually finally get a few yards on offense, go and get a field goal. Even then, all you need is a few more first downs on that drive, and again, you're going to win that game. The interception, the Browns were able to get the ball back, get the touchdown. Packers defense kind of not folded, but they had a few, head scratching moments there with some of the penalties, some of the PI calls as well. Maybe one of them was a little bit soft, but I'm obviously not complaining. And as you said, even when the Browns tied this game 10-0, I can't remember how much time was left, but not long. You then,
Something, I think.
yeah, you then straight away pretty much get into field goal position. And at this point, I put into my Browns group chat that it would just feel like the most Browns loss ever to be somehow in this game that we have no business being in. The score should not even be 10-0, but to then lose it on a last-second field goal would just be classic Cleveland Browns. So that's what I'm expecting. And then again, somehow the blocked field goal, shout out to Shelby Harris. One of the signatures of his career is getting his hand up on those field goals. A couple of field goals, a handful of field goals he's blocked in his career. I mean, a handful for the Browns alone. And then even then, the Browns weren't automatically in field goal range. They probably should have stooped that and scored, to be honest. I mean, that's what I was
I
shouting
thought
at.
they'd score it. Like when I saw it got blocked, I was like, they're going to score on this.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was shouting at, yeah.
My back was turned. I was yelling at the dog. Obviously he did nothing wrong, but someone had to take my fury. And I turned back around and I was like, okay, well they're in good position, but don't do anything stupid. And then immediately we get another penalty. Like the
Yeah,
penalty yards were ridiculous.
yeah,
Most of them on the O line who were just putrid today. But to be on Parsons, it was like it's at that point you're like it's just one of those days. It's just nothing is going our way, mainly our own fault. But yeah, the yardage Parsons gave up there, and then Credit to Flacco as well. He got the ball out quick and spiked it fast because he had to. There was,
I
you know,
yeah
there was a real danger if he hit someone in bounds, there might not be the time. So I was thinking, maybe
yeah.
Flacco gets a receiver, but okay, we take it to overtime and let's see what happens there. But no, credit to the Browns there. Flacco, quick pass, got the ball out, and they were so quick up to spike it 2 seconds left.
Yeah,
And that's, I've seen teams fail there. I always remember Dallas doing it against the 49ers a few years ago in the
yeah,
playoffs, where they
yeah.
just ran out of time. So credit to
Even
Flacco
today,
there.
the Falcons. I don't know if you saw the Falcons at the end of their first half.
Yes, I
They had
did.
a similar situation. I think they had more time left on the clock when they actually threw the ball than the Browns did. That was really impressive operationally from the
Very
Browns,
good. Yeah.
because I was screaming at my TV, as you can imagine, when he threw that in.
Yeah.
In down the middle, straight down the middle, and I've to Njoku, who, to his credit, more times than not, any other situation refuses to go down. I'm thinking all it takes is Njoku to try and stand up one of these tackles, and we're going to run out of time here and not have enough time. As you said, credit to everyone involved for him was to get back to the line of scrimmage and spiking that ball with 2 seconds left. You mentioned the penalties. I mean, 14 penalties the Packers had today. Somehow actually had less penalty yards than the Browns, because the Browns had a couple of holes, and obviously the Browns had that 15-yard penalty for I can't even remember what it was for now. The chop block,
Yeah, again, a stupid decision there from me. I
yeah,
don't know what the player was doing. I can't remember which player it was of yours, but yes, dumb.
yeah, it's silly decision. 8 penalties for the Browns. That's pretty normal. But as you said, they were able to spike that ball, get into field goal position, and even then, even with how this game had went, how it felt like the momentum had completely shifted into the Browns' favour. You've got friends who are Browns fans. You've been keeping up with the Browns this season. You know about Andrew Schmidt. You know that
Yeah,
it's not been.
I was hoping he would find some of his previous form, shall we say? But no, he absolutely nailed it, and it's redemption to him. So credit to him because he had a point to prove, and he did it, and a big win for the Browns on him. So wow,
Yeah,
not all on him, but he delivered when he had to.
yeah.
But yeah, I was praying to every god I know that he would just slice it a little bit, or maybe we could have a bit of a block in there. But
I mean, I wasn't confident. I'll be honest, but it's one of those where when the score's tied, it's you don't feel quite as you don't feel quite as nervous because it's not miss and we lose. But even still, I mean, I was sat there doing through my eyes like this with my fingers crossed. And as you said, credit to Andre Schmidt. Pretty much every Browns fan was calling for him to be cut after week one. He was able to come in last week, make all of his kicks. Granted, not many tough ones or in tough situations. And then this week, I mean, it doesn't get much tougher than that. 55 yards, game-winning opportunity. Obviously, all of the pressure that usually brings on top of all of the pressure that he's dealt with since week one. I mean, you know, we're not stupid. These players have social media. I'm sure they see. I'm sure they see all of the mean things not all of the mean things, but some of the mean things that are said about him. He knows that he was, his job was essentially on the hot seat these last couple of weeks, after his performance in week one. So for him to step up and make that, massive credit to him. I mean, the Browns, we're going to, as Browns fans, paste over a lot of the cracks this week just because of the euphoria of winning a game like that. It's probably going to take until like Wednesday or Thursday, on my channel at least, where I start complaining about this offense in this game, because the Browns offense was atrocious in this game. The last, as you mentioned, 3 minutes, yes, they won the game, but that doesn't excuse the Browns offense performance in this game. And, it doesn't give you glaring hope going forward for the Browns for their offense, because the offense was still atrocious. Most Browns fans were calling for Dylan Gabriel during this game, but the Browns were able to get some success in the run game. Quinshon Judkins, again, second week in a row, having the biggest Browns offensive play with a 30-plus yard run. You're a Buckeye fan. What was your thoughts of Judkins in this game?
not surprised. When he had that big run, I messaged my friend and I knew he'd have one. Because I said to you when we spoke about the game before, it doesn't take much for him to get going, and I thought he looked good all game. He had, even when he had pressure in his face, he was getting those couple of extra yards, and I could feel like he's going to get one this game. I felt the whole game he would get one, and he obviously got that massive run. He's a brilliant player, and he's someone I think the Browns will lean on and should lean on. Now that you've played us, I'll root for the Browns as much as I can. I think you've got. Well, yeah, you'll be playing the rest of the NFC North, so
Yeah,
fingers
in the
crossed
next couple of weeks, most of them.
yeah, you can do what you've done to us to them, and I think Judkins is going to be a big part of that. Flacco is some of his throws. I was grateful that we were up against Joe Flacco at certain points today because I was like, some of these throws are terrible, and you could hear the crowd booing.
Yeah,
It was, and then they would always sort of cut to Dylan Gabriel on the sidelines, and I'm like, his shot I don't think is far away.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if Flacco is going to have success, I think he's going to have to lean on Judkins, and I think the Browns are going to have to lean on Judkins because he is good, and the fact that he missed a lot of the off season for his own reasons,
Yep.
and the fact he's had a week and he came in, I thought he looked good today. That one run I thought was coming. I thought you could see it coming. That's a big plus for the Browns. That's got to be a guy you can lean on now. Obviously, you've lost Nick Chubb, but Judkins is. I watched him for a year at the Buckeyes. He's a special player. Him and Henderson at the Buckeyes were brilliant, and I think that's someone you can really lean on. And it was kind of bittersweet to watch him tearing down through the Packers defense tonight. He's gone.
Yeah. Sorry, I just realised I left my oven on and had to run and get my oven off. But my bad. As you mentioned with Twinsham, 18 carries, 94 yards. Last week, 10 carries, 61 yards. So over 150 yards on 28 carries in 2 games. You mentioned it, obviously coming off. Last week, 1 practice in 3 months. This was his first full week of practice, his first game week actually getting ready. There were some moments that, you could tell that, he's only getting used to this offense. There was a couple of his pass protections that he missed. A couple of those Flacco plays, to Flacco's defence, he pretty much had a free runner running straight at him because Twinsham missed a couple of those pass protection duties. But overall, other than that, really impressed with Judkins. Dylan Sampson a bit more quieter in this game than he has been in the previous 2 weeks. But Joe Flacco, as you said, there were plenty of misses in this game. That flea flicker that we ran, I don't know if you saw, but Isaiah Bond was wide open for a touchdown.
He was, and I don't think that was the only thing he missed. There was a lot of pressure. I think him and Jordan Love were both playing with a lot of pressure in their face. I haven't seen the pressure numbers yet.
Yeah.
But I know it was high for both. But there was some that was like, I'm like I said, I'm grateful we're playing against Joe Flacco because he was just missing players that, they weren't exactly wide open, but it wasn't good from him. And I actually thought for a second that they might put Gabriel in here because just to give something different, because Joe Flacco just wasn't getting going. And luckily for you, we gave Flacco a short field to get the touchdown. But yeah, I think I understand why the Browns will go with Flacco. Like he's kind of a safe pair of hands to some degree, and obviously he did well for you a few years ago. But I feel like it can't be that long until Dylan Gabriel's seeing more field time. I think that he's a talented guy. He's a bit older for a rookie. I know that, but yeah, some of the throws Flacco made today, I was well, obviously for me it was brilliant, but yeah, there was some questionable decisions from Flacco, and leaning on Judkins more would make more sense. And I think a Gabriel and Judkins kind of duo back there would make more sense long term for the Browns if they were to make anything of this season, because the defense is legit. We saw that through 2 weeks. I've said should have beaten the Bengals. The Ravens score I didn't think reflected, and today we had nothing. I'm gonna lynch our own line all week, but the O line against Washington and Detroit was good. So credit to the Browns there. So I think Gabriel and Judkins might be the answer for you going forward if you want to make something of the season. Obviously, I don't know what your expectations are, but
yeah,
Flacco.
There was a couple of times where they cut to Gabriel and he had his helmet on, and I thought, oh wow, well maybe this is Gabriel time. Let's go. 'Cause I've spoken about it all. I mean, I've spoken about it all the last few weeks, even before the season. Joe Flacco wasn't my pick to start. When we had Kenny Pickett here, I wanted Kenny Pickett to start, purely just because he was 26 years old. If he gives you something, that's something, not a 40-year-old. But I always said, if they do go with Flacco, the only reason you're going with Flacco is because you think you can win games with Flacco. So if you're not winning games, there is no point Flacco being there. So if this had gone different, if the Browns hadn't somehow had something what usually happens to them happen for actually, go for them this time, we're all sat here as Browns fans calling for Dylan Gabriel next week against the Lions. There's not a doubt in my mind that we would all be doing that, because as I said, the only reason Flacco is in there is because you think you can win games with him. If you're 0-3, what really is the point? You've drafted two rookies. You want to see what you have in those guys. But because of some of that madness that happened at the end of this game, Flacco has bought himself another game. You don't get benched after you win, and especially not when you come back and win like that. As you said, I mean, he was helped out massively. I mean, Quinshon picking up the majority of the yards on that drive. And then obviously the Packers penalties that pretty much put the Browns at the 1 yard line. I mean, twice the Packers got the Browns at the 1 yard line because of PI calls in this game. So, it's not like Flacco was driving the ball by himself. But he has, as I said, he has bought himself another week because the Browns have won this game. Side note, it was hilarious watching them throw a pass to our backup centre. That was quite an hilarious thing to see in the end zone on the 1 yard line. Harold Fannin was impressive in this game on that last drive as well. He had that catch where should have been a 5 yard gain, and he ended up breaking two tackles. Was able to get the first down, keep the drive going. Even if the Browns had lost this game, as it has been the last 2 weeks and in the last two losses, we could hang our hat as Browns fans on the performances of these rookies. This is looking like one of the Browns' best rookie class in a long time. What were your thoughts on the Browns rookies overall? Obviously, you spoke a bit about Quinshon Judkins, but Carson Schwessinger in this game, Harold Fannin in this game, obviously Mason Graham linking up with Malik Collins for one of the sacks.
Yeah, no, I think I'm a big fan of Graham. I thought that was a great pick. I think having him and Garrett on a defensive line, I think could be unfair for quite some time. I'm a big fan of Judkins. I can't pronounce the linebacker's name, but I thought he was really good today. I know he got a sack, which I'll put more on Love because
Yeah.
throw the ball away for fuck's sake.
Not sure what he's doing there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he has these baby brain moments which benefited you greatly today. But Fanning as well. I'm surprised he didn't see the ball more, because when he got the ball, he looked really good. Like I said, there was one where he just seemed to just keep going and gain 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the Browns rookies. I mean, like I said, I can't credit the Browns defense enough. Myself and all the Packers fans are going to have a big sort of autopsy into what happened, but end of the day, I think we just faced a really good defense. Players like Graham, Myles Garrett is just a monster, like I've said. The rookie linebacker whose name I'm not going to attempt to pronounce after a few rums.
It took me about a week to learn it, to be fair.
Yeah, credit to them, because they really disrupted us. I wouldn't say we had our way with Detroit and Washington, but we were comfortable. And tonight we weren't.
Yeah.
We weren't. We struggled. We couldn't get going. And credit to them. I think I'd be really, if I was a Browns fan, I'd be really happy with what these rookies are showing. I'd be excited about Quinshon Judkins, because I'm biased, but anyway, but I think he's just a fantastic talent. I think there's a lot of positives for Browns fans to take. I know there was some booing tonight, but generally I can't say enough. Should have beaten the Bengals. Ravens' score was unfair, and tonight you've beaten a team that was third in the power rankings. I mean, we'll probably drop now to 8th or 9th, deservedly so, because we weren't good today. But no, credit to the Browns, and credit to their rookies, and the coaches as well, because it's. I think Matt LaFleur's a good coach offensively. Probably didn't earn his stripes tonight. Jeff Hafley again is good defensive coach, and while he probably did enough to win. Ultimately, we didn't. So no, I'm full of praise for the Browns. It might feel like a robbery a little bit, but they did what they had to do ultimately because you got the win. So there's positives for you to take, absolutely, and I think there is glimmers of hopes for Browns fans.
Yeah, I mean,
I think and I hope, honestly,
yeah,
I really do hope it goes well for Cleveland.
I'll start to wrap this up a bit, but the defense was the story. I mean, we spoke about it in the preview. We knew this was going to be a battle of two really good defenses. That's what we saw for the whole game. That's the only reason the Browns were able to do what they did at the end of this game in the final 3 minutes because the defense were able to keep them in it. You mentioned the coaching. I was impressed with Kevin in the second half. I might even be more positive to Matt LaFleur than you because I think Matt LaFleur's a really good coach. Great offensive mind, but I do think he's a really good coach as well. I've seen him earn his stripes, shall we say, in playoff games as a head coach, and I think Kevin outcoached him, shall we say, in the last the last quarter of this game and in the second half. I think some of the decisions overall, but it was the Browns defense that kept them in this game. And as you said, the Packers were able to be comfortable in the first two games, and in this game, the Browns defense made them uncomfortable. I felt like the Browns defense were more physical. That front seven was just too physical for that Packers offensive line. I messaged you during the game. I think this Browns front seven I'm biased, of course, but I think this Browns front seven and this defensive front is the best in the NFL. For the most parts of this game, as Browns fan, you're annoyed because you're just thinking we're wasting, what is the best defensive player in the NFL on one of the, if not the best defensive fronts in the NFL because we can't even move the fucking ball on offense. And you're just getting so annoyed about that. But obviously now, the vibes have completely changed when you go and win a game the way that the Browns did in this game. I mean, my final takeaway is just what an incredible way to go and win a game. Hopefully, this can be a kind of turning point for the Browns this year, and they can kind of use this as motivation and see we can beat the best teams. I think back to the 2023 season. It was a couple of weeks later in the season, but still fairly early on. And we went and played a 5-0 San Francisco 49ers team that were number one in pretty much all the power rankings. And we were able to win that game with PJ Walker. Same scenario, same situation. Instead of a blocked field goal, that was a missed field goal. And the Browns were able to go, use that as a springboard and go and have a great season and make the playoffs. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to obviously go and make the playoffs now after only going 1-2, but it's games like these that you can use as a great springboard for a franchise. I suppose for the Packers POV, do you think this is just one of those where you file it under the right, throw that away, throw the tape away, let's not watch that again, or do you think this is maybe? Is there any worrying signs from this game, or do you think this was just a blip going up against a great defense?
I do think it's a burn the tape game. I don't think we're going to face many defensive fronts as good as this. We saw through 2 weeks how good our offense can be. I'd put nothing on the defense today. They were brilliant the whole game. There's not much they could do when the Browns had such a short field. So defense is still good. I still have faith in Jordan Love. I'm not a big fan of him tonight. I still think we'll be fine, but there's lessons to be learned. My kind of over-optimistic viewpoint would be take the humbling, learn from it. It's better to have these now than in January. So for us, it's a learning point. I'm not sure McManus will miss many field goals from there. I'm not sure how many field goals we'll have blocked. So there is an aspect of like one of those games, but there's lessons to be learned. Jordan Love has been, and even tonight overall, I'd say he was pretty good to get us into position to get the field goal was good from him, but lessons to be learned. But it stings a little bit. That fourth quarter will hurt me for quite some time. I'm sure having Browns fans as friends, I will deservedly get some stick. So take that on the chin, learn our lessons, and hopefully we'll be ready for Dallas next week. But I still think we'll have a good season, and I'm hopeful that the Browns will have a good season too, genuinely. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
hopefully some confidence for you.
yeah, I do appreciate the support. I mean, this does give me confidence. I mean, before the season, you mentioned earlier that you didn't know what my expectations were. My expectations were around 7, 8 wins. Maybe be frisky, maybe still be in a playoff run, shall we say, and technically not out of it by
Yeah,
week 16. After the first 2 games, wasn't looking like even that was going to be the case. But a lot of Browns fans as well, but I really hang my hat on this defense long before the season started. After the draft, I pretty much identified the Browns defense as their best, obviously, unit and what was going to basically be the biggest reason they could win games in 2025. They're going to keep them in every game. You know, Packers are going to feel bad about losing this one against an 0-2 Browns team, against a Browns team that was probably in the bottom two of every power ranking. But I do think this Browns team, and I said this before the season, and I'll say it again now, I do think they can be a trap team for a lot of teams this year just because of how good that defense is. If you have an off day against this team, whether that's you make some mistakes and you turn the ball over a couple of times, or your offense doesn't turn up to play, or your defense makes some mistakes and blown coverages, this Browns defense is that good that they will be able to punish you for that and keep the Browns in games, even with their offense being as bad as they are. I mean, the Browns offense through 3 games has been awful, yet they should have beat the Bengals, as you mentioned, who, yes, they just got blown out right now, but they were 2-0 with a Joe Burrow before he got hurt, looking like they were going to go and be, contenders this year for a playoff spot. The Ravens game wasn't close, but we all expect the Ravens to be challenging for an AFC Championship game. And now you've just gone and beaten the team that I picked to be in the NFC Championship game. So, even with the offense being as bad as it has, we've still been able to be in these games against these good teams. This first 6 games was always going to be really, really hard for the
it's
Browns.
it's a tough schedule for you
It was
guys.
the toughest 6 games in terms of the team's record from last year in the NFL. 3 games against the NFC North in those first 6 games. So, a lot of people probably thought 2-4 would be a great would be a great outcome from this. So, even with the disappointing first 2 games, to be 1-2 coming out of these 3 games, I think Browns fans are going to feel a bit better about how the start of this season has gone. Obviously, with the performances from the defense, that's not only going to encourage that. But before I let you go, I suppose any final thoughts and how does it? Are you still? Is it still like believable? Has it set in yet? Because it hasn't for me.
It stings, but I think if you're going to lose a game, you know, lose a game to a team that isn't in your conference. You know,
Yep, yep, yep.
we maybe I'll clutch at straws and say we needed a bit of a humbling, and hope that it can make us better long term. If we're going to lose a game to any team, I'll not hide my soft spot for the Browns. So I'm happy for the Browns fans, genuinely. Although I'm a little bit seething under my breath, but no, Browns defense is legit, and fingers crossed in 2 weeks' time in London we can see the Browns be victorious over the Vikings. I will be there. If anyone watches this and sees me there, I'll probably be in my Michael Parsons jersey, my brand new Michael Parsons Packers jersey.
Yep.
Say hello. I'll be fully Team Browns that day. So fingers crossed that you can do a number on the rest of the NFC North for us, like you did on us today. And yeah, credit the Browns.
Hopefully that's the case, and just let everyone know if they didn't see the preview where they can find you on social media.
I am on X. I'm not massively active, and it's mainly about my bad other football team. But if you do @NathanSTFC, any messages are welcome. If there's any Browns fans that are going to the Vikings game at Tottenham, happy to meet up. I'll be with a couple of Browns fans myself. So, like I said, I'll be fully Team Browns that day. So, if anyone
Yeah.
fancies a beer or just wants to talk ball, I'll be there for a chat.
Yeah, well, now the Browns beat the Packers, I will show my face and I will come and meet you for a beer, because obviously
Yeah.
if this had gone another way, then I might have been a little bit less eager to come and see you at the game. But me and Nathan will both be at the game, so echo everything he just said. If you want to come see us, then obviously drop us a DM or whatever.
You can
You
get
can
me a
also
pint now, I think,
Yeah,
as we gifted you the win.
yeah, I probably do owe you one after that gift. But Nathan does also write for the Huddle UK. Links will be in the description. I have actually started putting my link for that as well now because why not? But Nathan, thank you so much for. As I said, I mean, if this was the other way round, I probably wouldn't have been too eager to come on here and talk about this loss. So respect to you. Good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully those injuries aren't bad and those guys can get back healthy. I'm still looking forward to watching Micah Parsons and that Packers defense this year. I still think you guys are going to be a good team. You're still going to be in the playoffs. I don't think there's too many worries. I think this was just one of those games that thankfully, as a Browns fan, usually on the other end of, we were able to take advantage of. So I'm happy about that. But everyone, thank you for watching. If you do enjoy all my content, check the links in check the links in the description. You can see where you can follow me, see where you can follow Nathan. Enjoy this Victory Monday, Browns' first Victory Monday of the year. Hopefully not the first and only one. Hopefully more to come. But thanks again for watching, guys. And as always, go Browns.